Hi guys, and welcome to your weekly horoscope for Monday the 15th of November, going through until Sunday the 21st of November 2021. Thanks for joining me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm going to give you a rundown of what is happening this week. So I'm going to go through each day to see what the planets are doing, how they interact, and what energy that brings up for all of us down here on planet Earth. It's going to be a pretty full-on week. First of all, we have a lunar eclipse. That's also a full moon on Friday the 19th. So those are always intense, and the effects can be felt for around 6 months. And what I noticed looking at each day here is that there's a very peculiar energy floating around, and it's there pretty much all week, not the weekend so much, but Monday to Friday particularly. And it gives you this willingness to let go of the past and things that no longer serve you, even if that's difficult, or if it feels like it's become a part of your personality and your identity, like your story, that you're not willing to part with, but it causes you pain, then there's this very unusual kind of courage that flows in that allows you to say, do you know what, I'm willing to let go of this once and for all. So it can be very freeing this week, but it does take quite a lot of inner work. So it's not the easiest kind of thing to navigate. So let's have a look at what's going on. Monday, the 15th of November. We've got a lot of aspects being formed here. So we've got the moon in Aries. It conjuncts Chiron in Aries. So a conjunction is when two planets sit right on top of one another. Chiron is the wounded healer. The moon is what feels natural and comfortable. And Aries is about making progress and moving forward. So your own healing is going to be of importance to you. The Aries moon also squares Venus in Capricorn. So there's a desire to work well and to create beautiful things. Sextile Saturn in Aquarius, so the rules may seem somewhat restrictive, and it's like, okay, I'm trying to do something here, stop interrupting me all the time and telling me what to do. It quincunxes Mars in Scorpio, which really is very focused on, these are my feelings, I have a right to them, I will do what I want to do. And Mercury in Scorpio, the communication planet, also being very focused on what's happening for you internally. So with that, there's already a lot going on, and you can see certain things conflict one another. And usually when that happens, it puts you somewhat ill at ease, and it's like, oh, there's a lot going on here. We also have more things going on Monday. We have Venus in Capricorn forming a square with Chiron in Aries. So is the question, do I like to work, or do I like to work in a particular way, or am I working on myself? And what's most important here? It also squares the Sun in Scorpio. So it may be a little bit at odds with what's being felt internally and what's happening on an external level. And it squares Jupiter in Aquarius. So I want to share my ideas. I don't want to be instructed and told so much. I want to create something of my own that I can put out there. So with all of that, the one thing that you will feel certain about is yourself, and almost a sense of obligation that you have, like a duty to heal yourself and to look after your own needs. That's going to be really strong. You also have the potential to generate wonderful original content. So if you're a creative person, an artist or a writer, you make videos, there's this great sense of purpose and drive that I can make something independently that's new and original and unique. If you're a speaker, a leader, or a performer, Monday is going to feel really easy and super empowering. Work is thrilling and meaningful. You may be distracted by office politics and what other people think. So that could slow you down, and try and keep the focus on what you're doing and what excites you and what you've dreamt up, rather than worrying about what someone else may think of you or trying to read their mind. It's going to feel very frustrating. So creating something practical, like in the garden, for instance, or painting or writing, all of that is going to make you feel super empowered, because as long as you're expressing yourself, you'll have a good time here on Monday. If there's been a secret you've wanted to share, it'll feel very good to get this off your chest on Monday. So if there's something where you've been a little bit tentative, should I, shouldn't I, and you haven't been able to give yourself that push, if you do want to share something, then Monday's a great day to do it. But if there's a deep, dark secret that you have vowed you're going to take with you to the grave, then be careful on Monday, because you may feel that your heart opens to another person and you feel very close to them, and it's like, well, I want them to know everything about me, and then secret might slip out. So be careful with that. On Tuesday, the 16th of November, we've got the moon still in Aries, and now it forms a square with Pluto in Capricorn. So my need to move forward and to get ahead in life is being somewhat hampered by all the chaos going on around me and the demands of other people and the circumstances I have to take care of and the obligations and duties and the errands I have to run, that kind of stuff. So again, potential for frustration. The Aries moon also sextiles Jupiter in Aquarius. So there is this ongoing respect for your own opinions and for your own ideas. So if you're usually not that certain about yourself, Monday, Tuesday are fabulous because it's like, this is my idea, therefore it has to be amazing. I mean, hello, it's evident. If you're someone who's been told that you have a bit of an arrogant streak and that you don't really listen, then be careful around that on Monday, Tuesday, because that's going to be heightened and you'll love the sound of your own voice more than other people's. The Aries moon also quincunxes the sun in Scorpio. So again, there's a great ability to read the room and the situation and to listen to your own guidance and your feelings. The sun in Scorpio also sextiles Pluto in Capricorn. So it's your feelings that will guide you through the chaos. It's not about attacking or trying to figure out what other people are thinking or just looking at a situation as it looks on paper. But listening to your intuition is very, very important on Tuesday. So with all of that, the frustration and the back and forth and stuff, you may feel a little bit short on patience on Tuesday, especially if changes don't happen in the way you would like them to go or the way you've instructed them to go. So just keep your cool, keep a lid on it. There's also the possibility that you can wind yourself up into a state of real anxiety and frustration and concern. And it's winding yourself up over something that isn't particularly consequential. So pick your battles on Tuesday. It's really not helpful to you or to anyone else to blow up over every little thing. The real thing to watch out for on Tuesday is if you feel personally attacked or if you feel out of control, that may trigger something deep and dark and hidden in you. So a secret may come back to the surface and remind you that it needs looking at or it needs healing. So if that appears for you, then recognize what's going on and kind of make a mental note and say, this is something I'm going to deal with. This is something I'm going to let go of. This tendency to be triggered or this memory that I'm hanging on to because it's harming me, but at the same time, it's giving me some sort of a payoff. Like for instance, if you have a fear of flying, okay, then the fear of flying is going to make your life much smaller. And it's going to cause great upsets when you are forced to fly. And it robs you of a lot of opportunities. But on the other side, it does give you something. It does give you a payoff, like most of these things. So if you have a fear of flying, then you're not going to be obligated to go visit relatives and other people. They're not going to be as demanding of you because they know you have this issue. So there's always a payoff. And usually when we hang on to ways of thinking or we berate ourselves, it's because that feels more comfortable and it's like the familiarity of it is the payoff and we're not so willing to look at the actual thing that's hurting us. And I mean, who wants to do that? It's like, okay, let me sit down and see what trauma I'm still carrying around. But I mean, most people would rather do something, right? But looking at our own traumas and difficulties and faulty behavior patterns, that's what growth is all about. And at certain times in our lives, we do need to actually grow. It's not like you have to keep up with the Joneses. I'm sorry, I'm going to get off this rant in a second. But it's not about keeping up with other people and saying, oh, my friend is 40 years old and has 3 children and I don't. Maybe I should up my game. It's not about that. It's about getting to a certain point in your life and saying, do you know what? I'm still the same person that I was at 15 and I still behave just as badly. And I still do all the things that I don't love about myself. At this age, really, is it something that I'm doomed to just play out for the rest of my life? Or is there something I can do about it to change and to adapt the way I react? And that's the growth, that decision to say, do you know what? I'm not this, my personality and my life and my destiny isn't carved in stone. I have a choice here. So that's one thing to look at. And also, if you're not particularly triggered on Tuesday, continue with the goals that you've set the day before on Monday and use the fiery energy to get a lot done. On Wednesday, the 17th of November, we've got the moon entering Taurus at 3:18 in the morning. The moon in Taurus is now it occupies itself with form and substance and money and the way things look and your environment and making that better and more comfortable for yourself. The Taurus moon opposes Mars in Scorpio. That's really interesting because Mars is ambition and drive and what I want. And in Scorpio, it's very much hooked into your feelings, and it says, these are your deepest, darkest hopes and dreams. Do something with them. And it causes this state of anxiety and like, your will, you have to do something about this. Otherwise, you're going to look like you failed, or other people may think of you a certain way. And with the Taurus moon opposing that, you're going to be very willing to let go of these things that drive you to behave in ways that you don't necessarily choose to behave. The Taurus moon also conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So you're okay with change. You're okay with letting go and seeing things alter. Squares Saturn in Aquarius. So I make my own rules, thank you very much. I don't have to live my life exactly the way you say I should live it. And it trines Venus in Capricorn. So you're willing to redesign yourself and your life and the way things look. Wow. So that's really deep and profound, but it's really like 10,000 leagues under the sea. You're in like a little submarine and you're diving into the sea of yourself, and you're getting to the coral reef right at the bottom there, and you can look around and see the beauty in it, and also can rearrange things a little bit and see what you want to nurture and grow and create in yourself. So you are your own little project here on Wednesday. Mars in Scorpio also opposes Uranus and Taurus. So it's the self. If you continue to grip onto things, and if you're not willing to change and adapt, you're going to feel cornered, and you're going to feel like circumstances are conspiring to attack you. But it's not an attack, it's an opportunity to start again, to change and to approach things very differently. Okay, so the one thing that's going to give you a sense of ease and like, okay, I'm still in control here a little bit, is be expressive. Allow yourself to express your thoughts and feelings, because that's going to give you a sense of connection with self, and it will center you amidst all of the noise going on around you, and it will make you feel more secure and comfortable. So chatting with a friend or therapist to unburden yourself, that's also an opportunity to really experience a huge sense of relief. And you can put troublesome issues to bed once and for all. I mean, this is a theme, I think about at times. Are certain things, because we all have certain struggles, right, within ourselves. And as soon as I've said that, I'm just being prompted by the recovery thing, which says, what you resist persists. So the question is, do I surrender to the way I am and the things that I don't like, or do I try and fight this and change? And, you'll have met people in your life who've taken the first approach, and other people who've taken the second approach. And some people have succeeded and some people have not succeeded with either approach. But the key here is on Wednesday to realize that it's not about fighting to change. It's about letting go of what has happened and just letting some sort of empty, creative, completely neutral space to appear that could become anything, and committing yourself to that and hopping on that boat and seeing where it takes you. So it is not struggling and resisting these things, and being willing to change peacefully by allowing the demons of the past not to torture you in the present as such. Okay, along with the willingness to let go of things, there may be this odd sense of there's this greater order at work in your life. And if you pay attention to what's happening around you, you start to see patterns and the way your life kind of operates on its own, the rhythm your own life has. And when you recognize that in yourself and in your circumstances, then you don't need to control things as much as you do. You have the opportunity to let go and to say, do you know what, I trust that things are going the right way. I'm going to go with the flow here. So it's interesting. It's almost like by saying, I give up, that things then are put to bed and you're able to let go of them and do something new. It's not about getting in the mud and fighting yourself over it. It's trusting that there's something bigger and better and that you're not doomed to live out the same behavior patterns for the rest of your life, and letting yourself be taken in the right direction. So that's a very nuanced and very almost unnatural way of operating, because most of us say, I want something or I want to change something, so I'm going to, get busy and do it. But this is saying that certain things become much more problematic and more deeply entrenched in you when you're struggling all the time, and just by simply stopping, that certain things will fall away and drop away from you this week. And that then opens that space, and then something bigger and more positive can come in and reach you. Okay, wow. Thursday, the 18th of November. We've got the Taurus moon opposing Mercury in Scorpio, so this willingness to let go is still there. Squares Jupiter in Aquarius, so I want to expand my own ideas. Trines Pluto in Capricorn, I'm willing to deal with the changes as they come. And it sextiles Neptune in Pisces, which means that you can look to the future and use your imagination to look at what you would like rather than what's already happened. Mercury in Scorpio trines Neptune in Pisces. So Mercury is the communication planet and Neptune is the water planet. They're both in water signs, Pisces and Scorpio. So really the inner world is now huge and you can feel absolutely everything. Venus in Capricorn trines Uranus in Taurus. Again, like earlier in the week, that's a way to feel the calm at the eye of the storm. By expressing your thoughts and feelings and getting creative about them, that'll give you a sense of, okay, I'm safe at the center of all this. So on Thursday, the past really is unimportant to you, and it's easy to reconcile or to settle an argument on this day. You're very, very forgiving. It's partly because you're on to bigger and better things in terms of your what you're thinking about intellectually in your imagination. And you're already mapping out the months ahead. So of course that makes sense that you're not like, okay, we had a fallout 5 days ago and I'm still really upset about it. If you allow yourself to daydream on Thursday about different ways of living, you may be inspired to make a new plan for yourself. On Friday the 19th, we have this full moon in Taurus, which is a lunar eclipse. So I'll make a separate video on the eclipse and go into more detail because these are important. They influence us for 6 months. A full moon is when the moon kind of showers us with energy. Taurus is about the earth and it's a fixed sign and it's about control. In this case, I think it's an opportunity again to let go, and this is what we've been building up to all week. So if you want more details on that, I'll make the video on the eclipse tomorrow during the day, so have a look for that. On Friday as well, Venus is in Capricorn and it trines Uranus in Taurus, so you're willing to adapt and change. The Taurus moon opposes the sun in Scorpio, so same thing. You're not so entrenched in your own ways of thinking and not so about it. So it's like Monday, Tuesday, you're very committed and intensely invested in your own rightness. And then as the week progresses, you're willing to reevaluate that and to reassess it. The moon enters Gemini at 3:33 in the afternoon. So the things that you say from then onwards are significant, and the weekend is very interesting. So look at what you're expressing and saying and listen to yourself. I don't know if you've ever done that, but if you're on the phone or something and you deliberately become self-conscious and you say, okay, I'm going to listen to myself to see how much positive stuff I talk about and how much negative stuff I talk about it, I promise you'll be shocked. Some people can really do that very well. But a lot of people talk about illness and suffering and what they don't like and the pain and da-da-da. And it's like, you go round and round and round. And when you listen to yourself, you're like, wow, that's really not how I was feeling or what I meant to share. Interesting that that's what's come out. It can be very useful to do that little exercise. Because if you're aware, anyway, I think you get the point. If you're aware of the fact that you just gossip 90% of the time, then you can do something about it. Which, by the way, with the example of gossip, it is a good idea to do something about it. Because unless you're like a celebrity fashion blogger or something, people don't like that. They don't like being gossiped about, and also they're not going to trust you in future if you gossip, so it puts you on an island on your own. The Gemini moon also trines Saturn in Aquarius on Friday, the 19th of November. So you can get your point across very well to other people still. So we've got this heightened state now on Friday, that you're willing to let go of the past and you're willing to become more accepting of what is and of yourself, and to let go of what doesn't work, and blame and guilt and shame and all of those things you can really just get rid of, which is huge because you're the one who has to carry around all that stuff, and it's not particularly pleasant. So again, like earlier in the week, on Friday, you have a way of seeing your own patterns and the order of your life again in some sort of demonstrative, very clear way, and you gain a greater understanding in your own actions and the consequences that your actions have in your life. So with that process, then you're able to tie up your experiences by writing about them, and by putting pen to paper or expressing yourself tangibly somehow on Friday. It's like evidence that this is the moment when I finished that feeling or way of behaving or way of seeing myself. So it's like a souvenir, like a creative souvenir. I'm expressing my feelings on Friday about, I don't know, let's say my tendency to blow up, or to self-sabotage, or to behave in a certain way, and I don't want to do that anymore. Let's make a little picture out of it or write about it and then be done with it once and for all. I like rituals, so with that kind of thing, once you've written it, you can even burn it and see it kind of transform and disappear. On Saturday, the 20th of November, we've got the Gemini moon forming a trine with Saturn in Aquarius. So again, you operate within what's acceptable naturally and easily. You're like interested in mainstream things. Or you express yourself in a way that's easily understood by other people and which isn't seen to be totally out there, you know? The Gemini moon also sextiles Chiron in Aries. It quincunxes Venus in Capricorn and Mars in Scorpio. So again, now on Saturday, you're very interested in what's going on for you specifically. So the focus is on the self. Mercury in Scorpio squares Jupiter in Aquarius, and your feelings may be amplified to an extent now on Saturday that kind of leaves reason behind a little bit. It's like you get a paper cut and you just weep uncontrollably for an hour. It's too much. It's too much. So on Saturday, because of these super heightened emotions, your progress falters a little bit. It's like, you know, when you do inner work, again, I'm talking about the recovery stuff, but in recovery, there's step 4 in recovery. Like when I talk about recovery, I'm talking about the 12-step programs, right? Obviously you have steps 1 through to 12. And step 4 is about taking a personal inventory of yourself. And I am fearful of I'm making a list, and what parts of myself are triggered, and why does that fear come about? Like, what is it in me that makes me fearful of this situation? So you really try and understand yourself. And it's for a lot of people, it's not the most comfortable process, because I think until the age of, I don't know, until, you know, pretty young, most of us think, oh, well, I'm just a great person and life just happens and I've got nothing to do with it and this is just whatever. But as you get older, you realize that certain things that appear in your life are because you have a pattern or a vibration within you that attracts those things to you. And by looking and understanding them, that's what allows you to break free of them. It takes the power out, and then you can create new ways of being and behaving. And that, again, is personal change and growth. But you've got to be willing to look at what doesn't work and to let go of it before you can change. So basically, the whole week is like a mini 12-step meeting or program, I suppose. I guess. Because that's the real opportunity here, to be willing to change and then to do it. Oh, yes. But what I was saying, yeah, kind of lost my thread there. Once you do that inner work, first of all, in recovery, a lot of people kind of disappear before the step 4 because they dread it and they don't want to do it, right? But a lot of people who do the step 4 as well feel a great sense of relief, but then are surprised that it's not all smooth sailing afterwards. that you maybe take a few steps back and behave in a negative way again, despite the fact that you understand it. And I feel that's because progress isn't linear. You know, you don't just keep moving forward, you take steps back and then you move forward again. And this kind of inner work, it fatigues you. So of course, if you're tired and run down and you've just like been focusing on yourself, then of course your negative coping strategies will crop up again, because that's what you do, right? And that's what I think this weekend is. It's like an emotional hangover. You've done all this amazing inner work. So on Saturday and Sunday, you're just like, I want to behave badly. That's what I get over this weekend. Okay. And that's partially because of the Mercury in Scorpio being squared to Jupiter in Aquarius. It really creates this friction and this excessive bubbling over of negative emotions. So with all of that said, your progress obviously falters a little bit on Saturday because you may be tired after doing all this inner work. So you may feel tempted to take out your frustrations on other people by rebelling or by being mean or deceitful or insincere, basically anything to mess with other people so that you're distracted and you get out of yourself for a second. So if you're a big prankster or something, you know, like, please, I hate pranks personally. I don't think they're funny. And on Saturday, other people are unlikely to find them funny too. So a silly joke or a slight dig at the expense of someone else, that could blow up into something huge. So watch out for what you're putting out there, because that's like that's a really tough lesson. You know, you've done all this inner work, now you're feeling a bit run down. It's like, okay, I'm going to be a bit mean to someone just for a laugh. And then it really blows up in your face. It's like confirmation. That's like, no, you don't get to be mean anymore. You need to be a grown-up now. None of us are perfect, but you're really like, you're like being presented with who you are this week. And it's like, okay, this is who you are right there in your face. And that's why things happen to you. So it's best to face it head on. And then ultimately, the fewer skeletons you have in your closet, the freer you feel. Fab. Sunday, the 21st of November, we've got the Gemini moon squaring Neptune in Pisces. So you're still able to express yourself very well. It trines Jupiter in Aquarius. So now your imagination is so big that you may become somewhat impractical or tolerate ideas which are just totally nonsensical and waste your time a little bit. It also quincunxes Pluto in Capricorn and Mercury in Scorpio. So changes now have a profound impact on you and the way you feel. Mercury in Scorpio sextiles Pluto in Capricorn. So everything that changes is going to have a direct correlation to you. So it's the car has a flat tire. Oh, it must be because I'm a bad person and because I didn't do well enough in my life. You know, so it's they're not really related. So on Sunday, well, no, they're not related at all. Your character has nothing to do with the structural integrity of your car. So just give yourself a break on Sunday, basically. The non-constructive thinking lingers on Sunday, and you can get really upset over trivial details and drain your energy by getting so wound up over things. And that can cause friction within yourself and between you and other people. So your feelings are hurt easily, and you may want to dump any of your negative emotions on someone else or a situation without any thought for the consequences. So again, old behavior. Thinking about who's to blame. If you find yourself doing that, who's to blame for this? Who can I get for this? That's a guarantee that you're kind of on the wrong track here. Finding ways of being expressive and sitting with your feelings will provide the greatest opportunities for growth. Yeah. I mean, you know, sometimes you don't want to grow. People are like, you have to be accountable and stuff. Sometimes you don't want to be accountable. Sometimes you just want to run off in the night and have a good time or whatever. So this is tedious and it's laborious and it's like, oh, okay. So if you stick with the process, especially the eclipse on the Friday, and then the fallout from all that progress that you get on the weekend, you'll see moving into next week, you really have done the work and you can most certainly leave certain things behind. Certainly, most certain. Okay, certain. if you do the legwork and if you're willing to just sit with your feelings and go through this process, you can leave unpleasant stuff behind once and for all. You can bet your bottom dollar that that is available to you because you're going through the whole process. So you're doing all the work. By paying attention to it, at least you're like, okay, tick that box. I can let go of these things. I've done everything that I can. Because sometimes when you ruminate about things or you bring up negative things from the past, you really have learned everything you can learn. And sometimes it's just torturing yourself by regurgitating them again and again and again. So if there is stuff like that that you engage with, do yourself a favor and lighten the load a bit. So yeah, not the easiest week, but certainly an amazing week in terms of who you are and how you're going to tackle your future, because you're going to be much more, you're going to be much stronger and more well-equipped dealing with things coming up. So I like these kind of things because I always feel like, there is hope. And I don't need to absolutely accept everything. I can kind of align myself and slide into change, and change is possible. And I think we all need to believe that, and I think it's true. Yeah. I'm just thinking, I'm just scanning my kind of mental Rolodex for examples of people who've completely turned their lives around, beyond all the odds. And I mean, if you read any biography of any celebrated person, you'll see that there are major difficulties in themselves that they do or don't overcome. And sometimes they overcome a few and others remain, and it's a whole process. So engage with that for a greater and lighter sense of self. There we go. So that's what I get for you this week. I hope you have a fabulous time. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to order your reading with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, please. Hit subscribe and share the video online. Have a fabulous week. I'll be with you for the daily tarot videos, the special videos on the eclipses that are coming up. We've got 2 coming up, so I'll make videos on those. The first one of these, the lunar eclipse, I'll do that tomorrow. So check those out. Have a wonderful time, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.